Welcome to our gym space. This is our gym space in Hudson, Massachusetts at A.White Fitness. And today I'm going to be demonstrating how I would perform a deadlift in addition to some of the other movements that I'm going to do. So today I'm going to be doing some kettlebell swings to warm up. A kettlebell swing is a really good movement to open up your hips. It's also a really good way to not only warm up, but if you're someone who's inexperienced with deadlifting or wants to get into deadlifting, it's a really good movement to help you get there. So we're gonna be demonstrating that as our warm up. And then for my deadlift, I'm gonna be performing a deadlift, and then in between, I'm gonna be doing some lizard stretches. The reason I'm gonna be doing that is to prevent some of my soreness that I'm gonna experience in the next couple of days. So I'm gonna try to be ahead of that. Another good thing you can do is use a foam roller, obviously. So I found that this method is very effective because while your body is resting in between sets, you're also getting in a nice little stretch. So it just depends on how much energy I have. I try to get through 3 or 4 sets with the lizard stretch in between. However, sometimes if I'm feeling, really strong, I'll just go into the next set to try to get it over with. As I hit more weight, I get really fatigued because I have exercise-induced asthma. So if you guys see me, panting and stuff, that's why. I do focus on my breathing to breathe correctly. However, just sometimes, I get my lungs get really tired. So you'll see like the adrenaline and everything else. So that's what I'm planning to do today, so I'll go ahead and get right into it. Kettlebell swing, you always want to start with the weight in between your feet. Today I'm only going to use 20 pounds because that's what I'm going to be using for my warm-up. And actually this is a pretty good weight for myself. I am 133 pounds, almost 17% body fat. With the deadlift and the kettlebell swings, I always recommend, especially with deadlift, either no shoes or very flat shoes like these guys. Definitely do not want to be using running shoes. Those are not appropriate for this kind of lift. So with the kettlebell swing, you're gonna have the weight down in between your feet. You're gonna come down, drop your butt. So you're gonna be nice and tall. So you can pitch over more for a deadlift starting position if you want to, but I like to really drop my butt. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab the weight and I'm gonna get that first momentum. So the thing with the kettlebell is, which you guys have probably already been told, it's a bottom workout. So it's for your legs. It's also cardiovascular, obviously, but it's not for your arms. So you're gonna thrust up with your hips are gonna do all the work. You're gonna get that weight up in the air to your shoulders, and then you're gonna let the weight fall. As the weight falls, you're kicking the hip back up and pushing through, okay? So we're gonna just start down here a little bit to get the momentum, and if you watch my feet, you can see me coming back into my heels, so that's where you wanna be. You wanna have a nice tight core. So I'm gonna go ahead and thrust that weight up and let it fall. So with the kettlebell swing, you really wanna make sure that you're basically hitting your crotch. I mean, you're not going to because your forearms are gonna come back into your hip flexors. So following it through, you can see my glutes are working. Heart rate's getting up. This is a nice little primer for the deadlift. All right, so not much weight, but trying to get that heart rate up. Next thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna start setting up my bar for my deadlift. So what I have is what's called a dead wedge. I got this on Amazon. It's a nice tool. This is gonna help you get your weight up onto the... my friend came over and I am no longer warmed up because I was talking with them. So I'm just gonna do a few more of these. But I set up the weight, so I have the 25 pounds on each side plus the 45-pound Olympic bar on the dead wedge here so I can safely take the weights off after. So I'm just gonna do a few of these swings, and then I tried to angle the camera, so actually I'm gonna move the camera. Let's do that. So then you can see how I'm setting up my body. So I'm just gonna go ahead and do a few of these. So, my feet are already freaking hot. All right, so the deadlift. What I like to do, so you have a few different things you can do with your hands. Some people like mixed grip. I personally like just a regular neutral grip. What I do is I walk up to the bar, get uncomfortably close to the bar, and then I'm gonna put my pinkies on the first knurl. So I'm gonna drop my butt down, okay? And then what I like to do is kind of just get that little bit of a stretch in before I actually do the lift to kind of prepare my body, I guess. Everybody has their own little weird idiosyncrasies they do. So with the lift, you're gonna have your feet shoulder width apart or slightly wider. You're gonna get your grip right, and then you're going to do the lift. What I like to do too is I like to really sit in it, and then I pull my shoulder blades back. Okay, so I'm not here, I'm nice and tall, and then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna brace my core as well. So there's two movements in the deadlift, hip hinge and a pull. So hip hinge is opening up those hips, so you're letting your hamstrings and your glutes do all the work, keeping that core nice and tight, keep that nice and sturdy, and then you're gonna pull up at the top. With some of my clients, I ask them to exaggerate the pull because they have weak rhomboids or trapezius. So I have them exaggerate it so that it keeps their back nice and strong. I try to tell people to keep their shoulder blades together in the back so you get a nice flat back to do that pull. So I'm gonna come down, I'm gonna hip hinge, and I'm gonna pull. It's one fluid motion, but those are the two kind of like breakdowns of it. So it's only 95 pounds, but I haven't done this in a long time, so that's why I'm kind of going light for the first one. The dead wedge is in the way, so I'm gonna just kick that out of the way. Piece of shit, it's annoying me. So you want to get right up to that bar. So the key, like, you don't want to be here because if you're too far away, then you're hanging over the bar, right? In like an awkward, and the weight is in front of you. So you really want that weight to come up as close to the body as possible. Sometimes I'll ask people to wear shin guards or leggings or even knee highs to kind of help with that. So there's always like that little mental checklist in my head. Months. So the benefits, so for me, the goal is to get the clients to the deadlift and squat. So after you watch this, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna record myself kind of just talking about it so you can understand the reasoning behind it. I'm gonna do just a couple more just to hopefully get some good shots of the movement. And you know what, I'm gonna take my shoes off because I'm fucking hot. for me, my heat goes right through my feet. I know everybody's different. My feet, like you can see what hurts because all the heat just goes right through my feet. And instead of sitting on my ass like I'm doing now, I'm gonna go ahead and do the lizard stretch. So the lizard stretch, you're gonna get down on one knee. This leg, the balancing leg, I guess you wanna call it, is gonna stay up. You're gonna try to get your knee over your ankle, and then the knee that's down, you're gonna open that hip up and throw that foot back behind you, and you're gonna lower your body down onto your elbows, okay? So I'm gonna be right here, and I'm just gonna open up that hip. I'm just gonna let this leg come back, and then this foot is obviously gonna naturally go forward, which is fine. That's what you want. So you're stretching out the hip flexor and the quad on the leg that is down, and then on this leg, you're stretching out the hamstring as well as the hip flexors a little bit. So for me, I'm not very flexible, so I can't get down onto my elbows, but that's the goal, okay? So that's the final position. So for me, I'm gonna be right here. I'm just gonna hang out right here. For every stretch you do, you wanna give yourself 30 seconds. That's how long it takes for the muscle to release. I know I said I was gonna do that in between the sets and then I forgot. You don't wanna bounce. Bouncing's bad. All right, now let's get back to the other leg. So I'm just gonna go ahead and come up, and then we're gonna switch legs. So this knee is gonna come down, this knee is gonna come up, and then I'm going to bring this foot out to get that stretch on the front leg. I'm gonna open up this hip back here, so it's not just coming straight back, it's opening up. Opening it up, coming down, pushing down, and then this comes forward a little bit, so you're gonna feel that stretch in your hamstrings, and then you're gonna feel the stretch on your hip flexors on the other side. Feels really good, actually. So this is the lizard stretch. What I like to do is I like to do this in between my lifts, because for me, as you can see, I'm very tight. So this helps me with my recovery. Oh. I'm gonna do one more set of the deadlift with socks because it's freaking hot in here. Screw that. I feel like shoes are like so constraining. At home I walk around in either flip-flops or nothing. And my feet get filthy dirty, but I don't care because I'm comfortable. All right, so we're gonna do one more set with just the 95. That's it, just 95. Very light. So we're gonna walk up uncomfortably close to the bar, and then we're gonna come outside of our legs, pinky on the first knurl. And then we're going to sit back. I'm gonna come out a little bit wider than my shoulders because that's more comfortable for me. Pull my shoulder blades together, and it's a hip hinge and a pull. Nice controlled down to the ground. Keeping that core nice and tight. Oh God, all right, I'm already tired. All right, so we're gonna do the lizard stretch. One more time. So it's not about quantity. I'm gonna switch legs, I forgot what I was saying. It's about quality. I always say to my clients, take your time, do it right. I want you to do it right because if you're doing it right, you're gonna prevent injury. We don't want injuries because if you have injuries, you can't work out. Obviously. Leave your ego at the door. You will get there. If you apply enough pressure and you're consistent, you will get there. If you f around and you just bang out weights and throw shit around like an asshole, like a dick, and you're gonna hurt yourself. And there's just no point to that. That's something you'll learn with wisdom. And I'm not even that old, I'm 33. And I used to ego lift, I'm not gonna lie. When I was in my 20s, I used to ego lift. And you know what? I actually didn't injure myself, thankfully, but I could have. My back is screwed up because I fell on the ice a few years ago. So I have to be really careful with these types of lifts, with deadlifts especially, because I'll get into that, why I like the squat and lift. All right, so I'm good with that. I got a nice little workout. The way I look at it is, I got my lift in. I didn't kill myself, I didn't go crazy, but I did it. And where I hadn't done these types of lifts for a while, I don't want to just go in guns blazing and just smoke out my wheels, So I'm getting it in, getting my form in, and I'm gonna go back and look at the video and see how I look too, which is a really good tool if you ever want to have a critique, besides having a trainer look at it, obviously. And then, as far as, watching yourself too, like, it just helps you because it helps you get better. So, all right, so I'm gonna just foam roll because that's what you should do. I wanted to talk about the squats and deadlifts. So my goal as a trainer, for my business, is to get you to a squat and a deadlift, an Olympic squat and an Olympic deadlift. And the reason why is because I have found those two movements to be the most beneficial in all aspects of fitness and in life. So the squat is just a primary function. I mean, you're squatting all the time, whether it's gonna be to pick up a pencil, your kid, open a drawer, whatever. Learning the proper mechanics of the squat and performing it and doing it correctly, in addition to helping you with your day-to-day activities, it's a full body movement. So obviously, when you're doing your squat, like, oh, your squat is for your butt and for your legs. That is true. However, when you do the squat, you also have to brace your core. You have to have a strong core. You have to have a strong foundation, which is why when I start working out with my clients, I don't just go right into squats. I mean, yeah, we do air squats and body weight squats, but the Olympic squat, no. We do 4 to 6 weeks of stability endurance first. We get that core nice and strong, get that foundation strong, get all those little neurons and tendons and ligaments all connected and strong. And then we get into our big lifts. But the cool thing about the squat is not only does it work your glutes and your hamstrings, your glutes are part of your core, actually. It also strengthens your back and your shoulders. So the good thing about it is it really is a full body. It does elevate your heart rate as well. And because with the squat, you're using the bigger muscles in your body, you're going to burn more fat, because the more muscle you have, the more fat you're gonna burn, because muscles need energy to live and to work. Fat doesn't, right? So obviously, as long as you're watching your nutrition, you're doing good nutrition, in addition to doing these movements, you're going to lose weight. It's gonna happen for you. Deadlift is almost more beneficial than the squat. The reason why is because you really have to get that core nice and strong. You have to get that core locked down. Also your traps, your arms, your delts, mostly your traps, your lats, your legs obviously, your calves a little bit. All of those muscles are gonna get hit. So I feel like the deadlift is actually more beneficial than the squat, in my opinion. So that's why I like to get my clients there. Those are my what I call my bread and butter. Because they're my fat burners, they're my confidence builders. Women especially, we've always been told, oh, don't do those lifts, Women are supposed to be lean and this and that, and it's like, don't tell me what to do. But also, there is still, unfortunately, that myth that women, like, oh, I don't want to get too big. You're never gonna get too big, because you have like 200% less testosterone than men. I think it may even be more than that. So your body is literally incapable. So if you were assigned the gender of female at life when you were first born, your body just doesn't produce the same amount of testosterone as people who were assigned as male. So you don't have to worry about getting too big, because it's literally impossible. Like, first of all, people like CrossFitters and powerlifters, like CrossFitters that compete, or even just regular CrossFitters that do it all the time and they're dedicated, they look beefy because they put the work in. They work really freaking hard. So if you're not planning on going to the gym 6 times a week and killing it for an hour to 90 minutes, you're not gonna get there. If you work out 3 to 5 times a week with elevated heart work, you're not gonna get there. Will you get leaner and healthier? Absolutely. But it's people that go to the box 5 times a week who have their nutrition hammered down. Those are the ones that get nice and lean and mean and muscly. So, and I'm not putting down people that don't do that. I'm just saying, like, it's very difficult. People think it's easy. Like, as soon as you just start lifting weights, you're gonna get huge. It doesn't happen like that. For some people, it takes a few years. Like for me, 2012 to probably 2016, it took me about that long to put on 30 pounds of muscle. You know, it took me a while. I started off really small. I was only like 105 pounds. And I started lifting. I'm 133 now. I usually hover between 133 and 135. So anyways, I don't want to like just drone on and on about it, but that's why those are important to me. So hopefully this video helped you out a little bit and kind of got to get into my head. And of course, you know, having not lifted in 2 months, like I'm not gonna come in guns blazing and lift 200 pounds. My max, I think, was 185 deadlift, but that was literally like 6 months ago. You know what I mean? And I started a business, so I'm always working out with my clients. Like I'm always doing elevated heart work, so I'm really lucky in that regard. But lately, I've been thinking like I really need to start lifting more, because I used to do it so much, and I used to be like, people are always like, oh, you look really good, blah blah. But like in my head, like I used to be more cut. So I'm gonna start working out more for sure, and I know I'll get it back. I'll get it back, you know, because I know what I'm doing for the lifts. So I really hope you guys found this beneficial, and have a great rest of the week, whatever you're doing, and stay sober and stay healthy.